Okay, we should be going live.
Yep.
Okay, let's get
Tracy, you're muted. Tracy's
So,
muted.
I have to unmute her. Hang on a second. You get the message, Tracy, to unmute? Okay, good. Okay, good evening, Hammond North. It's May 6th. It's 6:04. We'll start the a special meeting. First of all is a roll call. Gil Patton,
Here.
Tracy Smiley,
Here.
Trim Fritz,
Here.
and Chris Conti.
Here.
And Jan Welch and Randy Vaughn are unavailable tonight. All right, with that, I think first order of business is the minutes, Gil.
Yeah, you received the minutes for April 22nd and April 29th. I'd like to make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Tim is the second. Okay, any discussion about them? Okay, I know there were a number of corrections, but I think that's all squared away. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, 5-0. Okay, thank you. I should have announced, but it wasn't the one call that as before, there will be no chat. We'll entertain questions on the subjects as they go around. And to repeat, there will be no special meeting on May 20th. Then the next item that we have is the invoice payments. Tracy?
Yes. So I'm going to make a motion to pay the invoices that I presented a motion on last week. So for invoice number 49805 for General Corp, I make a motion to pay $5,597.50. For invoice number 49806 for the partition, I make a motion to pay the invoice for $26,301.53. For invoice number 49807 for Porter, an amount of $9,384.50. For invoice 49808 for Seward, the amount of $308, and invoice 49810 Croskery for $704. That total for Finney invoices add up to, sorry, I'm doing my math here, adds up to $42,295.53.
Okay. Could you repeat that number again? 42,000?
Sorry, let me go back.
95.53.
Yep.
553. All right, thank you. All right, is there a second for the motion?
I'll second it.
Gil seconds it. Any discussion on any of the bills? Gil?
Since I was the one who delayed it last week, I just want to let everybody know that I also went through it. I did find a few minor areas where they might have billed us for something that belonged in partition in the Porter or vice versa. All of it was insignificant to the total bill amount, wasn't worth investigating any further. So I think they're fine the way they are.
All right, if you
Thanks,
could pass those specifics on to Tracy tomorrow at the end of the week, that'd be helpful for future bills. Okay, any other comments? Okay. All right, all those in favor? All those in favor?
Yep.
Okay, 5-0. Okay, those pass. Okay.
Did someone say, oh, you did second, Gil, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, next item agenda I have is committee reports. First one, Tracy, I know it's early in the process. Can you describe what's going on with the budget plans for 25, 26, 27?
Yes. So it's early in the process, but we're making a lot of progress every single week. So I reported out in the last meeting that we're going to start the budget prep process. So the finance committee meets every 2 weeks. We actually met this past Monday. It was just David Waybright and myself. And what we did was we pulled together all of our thoughts into one budget spreadsheet. We reviewed all the expenses and we're pretty much in line around the projection of what we believe the expenses will be for 2026, 2027. There were a few open items that I met with Greg on. And so in our next meeting, we will go through those few open items around the projection of some smaller costs. We just want to make sure we're in line with that. Once we complete the process with all of the finance committee, once we get the other projections from the other members, we will pull it all together and do a report out for the first draft of the budget. Per bylaws, I believe we need to present the final budget by the last meeting in June. So we will try to get this completely wrapped up within the next couple weeks, send out a draft to the board, make any revisions, and then we will present at the full owners board meeting at that point. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board members? Or from the owners about the budget process? Okay, then the next item I have is the vendor agreements. I don't know, is that Chris, that's you, or Tim?
I can take that. I received a copy of the contract. Tim and I had met with Judd Orshowitz and reviewed the town management contract. Judd made some revisions, sent it back today. We have a personnel matter to discuss on the contract. And once we resolve that, we can approve it and move on.
Thanks. Tim, you have anything you want to add on that?
No, thank you.
Okay, any questions, board members or owners? Okay. So the next item I have here is the Port of litigation. There really has been no substantive change since we met last week. I would say, though, that when it comes to Reminger, the legal, and CNA, there really isn't a lot of movement at this point. So as I described last week, that certain dates for trial, that is the other option if we're not able to resolve it. There is one item that I'll get to later that isn't really the Porter litigation, but it is an agreement between the HOA and Porter litigants, which I think is a helpful sign, but we'll get to that later. So any questions from the board members about the Porter situation? Case. Gil? You're muted somehow. Hang on a second. Let me.
I'm sorry, I had to take a phone call. So basically, if it is my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no more discussion about settlement. They're just going to trial.
You've been in the meetings. I mean, I think everybody's free to look at it the way they want to look at it. That's one very possible outcome, I'd say. All right, Sally?
Am I clear that there was a trial date set?
Yes, and I believe that's in the minutes that was set. There's a lengthy court procedure for any court. There's a deadline for when it'll be in the minutes when we just approved the minutes, and it's in the minutes, those dates that we talked about and the points actually that Jan mentioned about partition. So there is a date when I think you have to name experts for the defense, experts for the plaintiffs. There's a date for discovery, which probably includes depositions. There's a pretrial hearing. I think that's early March of 27, and the trial is set, I think, in mid-March of 27.
And am I clear? I need some clarification. This has gone on so long that I've lost any sense of where it's going or what it's all about. Am I clear that the former board members are all part of this suit and they're going to be sued at trial?
The lawsuit, complicated answer. It's not so simple. One is the association is named in the suit originally from May of 24. Two is that each of the 7 members of the board at that time, that includes 2 members who are on the board now, myself and Jen Welch, and then the other 5 members of the board are named as defendants in that case.
Will the association be a defendant?
As I said, the association was named and is still a party to the case, is a defendant. The original complaint also named Hunt as a defendant. And since that time, I think, I'm not sure exact date, about 5 months ago, the plaintiffs also added TRS as a defendant and Town Properties.
And what, in terms of the association, assuming, let's just assume for the sake of argument that they win the trial, they win. What does this mean for the association financially and for me as an owner?
Well, I mean, it's a big if. I don't think it's hard to say.
But it's also the worst case scenario. And
it is the worst case scenario.
I never hear any discussion of worst case scenarios, and we're facing a number of them, including the partitioning. So worst case scenario is they prevail in their lawsuit against the association. What does that mean to me as an owner?
What it means to the association is that if they prevail, then it's up to the jury, or I assume it'll be a jury trial, to award damages. I don't have a crystal ball, and I have no idea, nor do I think I should state what those damages could be. That's up to the jury. After that, there could be appeals filed. If Florida wins the case, they could be appealed by association. If association wins, they could be appealed by the Port of Plaintiffs. So,
Okay.
Sally, we're going to have meetings every week. Feel free to email us, but I'm afraid that there isn't a definitive answer as to what it would mean for the owners until an outcome is decided. I don't know if other members of the board want to chime in.
No.
John, do we know what they have requested is a result of if they win?
I believe the original proposal was $2 million, and there's been back and forth through mediation that they've lowered their demands through mediation, and we've raised our offer in mediation. But again, that's mediation, and that does not have a bearing. I believe that anything that happened in mediation is not admissible in court if it goes to trial.
What has been filed at court is for $2 million.
That's what the original demand was, correct. And I believe that was the homeowners, that was HOA, yes.
So
Okay.
where would the association be getting this $2 million? And if that's the damages they're asking for, where's that going to come from?
Well, as far as I know, the two possibilities are from the association reserves or from our insurance company, CNA. There's been no decision or discussion among the board as to how that would end up being divided up if that comes to pass.
So is that
Hey, Sally, can you send us a list of maybe an email of all the questions about it? And then that way we can answer line item by line item versus allowing other people to maybe ask questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, I guess. Sure, I can certainly do that. You're talking about opening that up to all of the owners as part of a discussion. Am I correct?
Well, I was just wondering if other people on the call had questions associated with it versus back and forth Q&A.
Yeah, and Sally, you should know that we did, it's not explicitly stated every week, but we would like to hear more of the owners and not have an extensive dialogue back and forth with just one owner. If, so feel free to email us or call us.
So if I email you, does that become an agenda item? Is that your intention? I'm not sure
It can if you want it to be,
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Or some owners have emailed me or other board members and will reply to them and individually, and some of them, it all depends on it's really up to you.
It's up to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I
We-
understand what you're asking me to do. If I
We can
say
answer.
answer my questions and you answer them for me, that doesn't help anybody else in the building.
That's fair enough. And you should send us a question that you want discussed in the next meeting, and there will be a meeting next Wednesday.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from any owners, board members? Diana, hang on a second.
Oh, boy.
Wait,
Diana, you're on mute still.
well, she knows that it's up to
Okay.
me. There we go.
You please define for owners what a derivative suit is?
You're pretty soft there, Diana. Up, you muted yourself again.
Would you please define for owners what a derivative suit is?
I think that'd be a difficult question for me to answer accurately. I think you have, if you want to take a stab at that. I know it's on behalf of the owners, but we've also had proposal, without getting into it, of how it should be divided up. You're muted again.
I just think it's important to explain that it's on behalf of the owners, so it would be divided amongst the owners, correct?
Okay, thank you. You have a question or? Sorry, you muted again. Okay, let me unmute.
Go on,
Chris.
John.
I'm trying to unmute Chris.
I just want to respond to Diana's claim, though, that the whole suit is not a derivative suit. She has derivative claims, but there are claims in there that are not derivative. So not all the funds would come back to us. Having read through all the documents, there are some that would go directly to the litigants. And so I think it's important that if she's going to ask people to define things, she needs to basically state that it's not a fully derivative suit. It has derivative claims. There's a difference.
All right, thank you, Chris. Is there any other comments or question? Can we move on? Okay, the next item we have is the Burnham lawsuit. Gil, you were going to summarize that one?
So we finally received the settlement documents for this suit. It is being routed for signatures by all the parties involved. So we're involved, and I think there's 4 or 5 other insurance companies that are involved. As part of that suit, any of our owners who are insured or were insured by State Farm are going to be asked to sign off on the suit as well. Evidently, the other insurers in the building have not asked for that to be done for their company, but State Farm has. So at some point, you who were State Farm, insured by State Farm at that time, will receive notice to ask to sign a document for them. Chris?
How is that being done for State Farm insured?
I'm sorry, I missed something there.
I'm sorry, I got,
What? Repeat what you're asking.
how How are those people who are State Farm insureds going to be contacted to sign the document?
I don't know the answer to that right now.
Okay,
Um,
that's
we'll
fine.
find that out. I'm sure it'd be some kind of a DocuSign email, but I will confirm that with our legal and get that out so everybody's aware of it. In addition, Tracy, you had a question?
Yes, is it so will State Farm require signatures from those who actually brought the lawsuit or everyone who has State Farm who lived in the building?
To my best knowledge, having looked at it, it
Mhm.
seems to be everyone who was
Every-
insured by State Farm when that occurred. So
Got it.
State Farm included their insured in their part of the litigation.
Got it.
So
Thank you.
now they need a release or whatever it is from their insurers or insured people. I don't know which terms there. The other thing that I would like to do here is make a motion that we accept the Burnham settlement agreement. And so we can have that on record that we've, as a board, have accepted that as the final settlement amount.
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Chris. I have often not had questions from the owners before a motion, as some owners have communicated with me. But I will unmute Sally and try to have questions. So, Sally, you should have a message on you. There we go.
I signed something with State Farm probably, it's been a long time ago, when they were first preparing for the their law firm representing them in Columbus. I signed a document a couple of years ago. Is this different?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Marion?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Does this mean that the association will share whatever the settlement is with the other insurance companies, number one? And does the money go to the insurance company or to the insured?
I believe the way this, Gil, do you mind I jump in on this?
Sure. The way
I believe the way this, sorry, you go ahead, Gil.
The way I understand this is that this settlement is, and the funds coming from in the settlement are being split up between all the defendants, of which we are one of them. So some of the insurance companies are getting money and we're getting money. And that will all become, transparent once that everything is signed.
Let me
That
also,
money will go in our, what is it, our operations or reserve fund, Tracy?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Where will those funds be deposited when we receive them? In operations or in reserves?
So once we sign off and look to see what's actually in the contractual agreement, I think we can figure that out. But off the top, high level, it will come back to operating.
let me also say that in terms of how this arose, is that the insurance companies pay, as far as I understand it, all the insurance companies paid a certain number of their clients different amounts of money, different policies, et cetera. And that the insurance companies are doing what's called subrogation, which is they're turning around and trying to get reimbursed for the money that they already paid to the owners. So I believe when they get this money, I don't believe any of that is then going to go to the insurer owners. It goes back to the insurance companies.
Right.
Okay,
Let
thank you.
me, John, you're unmuted.
Thanks. You may want to look into that about the operating budget because that's for current expenses. this was paid out the expense for the fire from reserves, and that's where the insurance has been going. And I know this is a different insurance, but there was a deductible. So you may want to check that because this is not a current year expense or revenue necessarily from the people. It probably should go into reserves, but you might want to look at that when it comes. As Tracy said, it's preliminary.
Yep, we'll look at it when it comes.
Okay, and if there are no other comments, board comments about the motion? All right, and I think it was seconded, Gil, you made the motion and
I
Chris
second it.
Chris second, right? Okay, all those in favor of accepting, signing off on that settlement? Okay, that's unanimous, 5-0. Okay, thank you. All right, the next item I have on the agenda would be the petition process. The petition process was laid out by Jan last week. There really is no update on that, except I would say that we did receive, and I haven't even passed on to all the board members yet, a notice from Julie that in terms of different tax liens, which is part of the partition process, they have to look for all liens on any of the owners. And there were some, as one owner pointed out, the misspellings that she passed on to me today, just before the meeting, a letter from the Secretary of State of Ohio that they don't have any interest in being a party to this partition action. So any of those tax settlements or allegations are all being dismissed and are not going to be part of this partition action. So that is the one concrete update that we have in the petition process.
That's good news.
It
Yes.
is.
Yes. And there were a number of owners that were listed in that. Any questions of the board members about that? About the petition in general? Or the owners? Okay, they're moving along. The next thing would be the agreement I mentioned earlier with the Board of Plaintiffs. So this is a bit complicated because it goes back to the ACM PSA, that ACM requested that as part of their contract, they had to have signatures from anybody who was suing the HOA that they would not sue the new owners or the building. So all the plaintiffs in the Cross Creek lawsuit, the Porter lawsuit, all signed those forms. Those are referenced in the agreement, but the ACM, we had a further legal opinion. Just because it mentions the ACM covenant not to sue document, it does not bind or affect anything because there is no ACM contract anymore. What it accomplishes is with one owner, it lists a foreclosure action. It lists various legal allegations by that owner. So there's a trade-off there. There's a question that this document can't be used in any way, shape, or form, has nothing to do with the Porter litigation. It does say that the Porter plaintiffs, that they will not oppose the partition action. And in response to that, that they won't be charged any legal fees, as we've told a number of owners that all legal fees of partition are paid by the association. So that is what the agreement says. So I would ask if there's a motion. First of all, any discussion about it from the board members or the owners. So then, can there be a motion to accept this agreement?
So moved.
Chris has made the motion. Is there a second? Sorry, whose hand was up first? I wasn't looking.
Tracy.
Tracy's? Okay. Tracy second. Another, any comments or questions about this? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, 5-0. Okay. The next item I have is the status of the building and the sale. Gil, I think that's you.
So the negotiation committee has been working very hard on that. We were very close to getting getting to the final what we think is the final PSA. And just before the board meeting tonight, we received a revised, updated PSA from the buyer. So we need to go through that and see if there's any differences in there and make some determinations on how we move forward with that.
Any questions of board members? Appreciate everybody's patience, and we hope to get through this. Okay, no other questions about that. I don't see that we have any owner questions that came in, but as Sally alluded to, if people want to submit questions by Friday before every Wednesday meeting, and say it's a question for the board, then we'll be glad to answer them. I don't have any other points. Or are there any board members raise any points for the agenda? Any items? Gil?
I wanted to ask about this security and the issues that the rumors that I've heard, people discussing that there's not always security at the desk. And go ahead.
Oh, I'll take this one. So I met with Greg on Monday about budget and about security. Um, so there are certain situations, and I don't know what days or times the owner said that they have gone to the building, but he will reiterate with the security company that they are to be at their post at all times. There are situations, obviously, when security may walk the halls, they may take breaks, go to the bathroom, do all sorts of things that, again, that may warrant them not to be at their desk. So I would just say, at this point, we're definitely trying to limit the amount of individuals going in and out of the building. Um, we will look at that and take that in consideration when we look at, expenses as well. But we really want to make sure that the security is there when they need to be and that they are at their post when they need to be. So just keep that in mind again as we talk through availability in what we're trying to do from a budget perspective, that may be more often than not. So again, we're trying to reduce the amount of footprint that's coming in the building as it stands today. So more to come when we go through the budget.
I have been told that this has been addressed with the security company before, and it has happened again. So if that is true, then I would suggest that we ask the security company to put some kind of a camera or simple ring camera, very inexpensive, at their cost, up in the front where it can face the desk with all the screens on it, and have it set up where that security company can review that and our personnel can review that, so that they have some idea that they're being watched. And if we continue to have the issue, then we need to find a replacement for the security company. I know I have
So I
driven
haven't heard that before.
past the
Oh, I'm sorry.
building at night and seen a car sitting in front of the front door with its lights on. And I did not drive up there to find out what was going on, but that certainly seems a bit odd.
Okay. I hadn't heard that before. I just heard that recently. I've addressed it with Greg this past Monday to make sure it's a part of their contract to make sure they're withholding that they're standing up to what's in that contract. I'll go back and double check and see what our options are when it comes to security at the building, which will obviously be based on some decisions we need to make when it comes to expenses as well. So I'll definitely circle back around on that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Tracy. Murray, you're unmuted.
Yes. What I understand is, I'm not sure. What I understand,
There's some echoing, Mary.
I noticed that. I'm trying to get rid of that. Okay, got it. I understand that out of 180 units, there's about 40 people who still receive a Duke Energy bill. And then they take that energy bill and then they go in and then they turn it into Greg and then he has to write a check. Then they got to come back and then they got to get the check and then they got to go to the bank, blah, 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 blah. and I think Tracy had mentioned it once, like, why not get a final bill and you're done with Duke, and that whatever expenses for your unit goes directly to the Hammond. But that would, to me, eliminate work for Greg, time consumed to take all those people turning in those bills, writing checks for them, da. And also the amount of people coming in to turn in the bills and then coming to pick up their checks. So to me, if we could make a statement or put it out that everybody, all of the units, since nobody is living there, get a terminal Duke Energy bill, and you don't have to bother with it. And that amount of money gets immediately charged to the Hammond. That would eliminate paperwork and time from Greg, and it would eliminate foot traffic in the building.
That's a great point, Mary. I wasn't aware how many more people were coming into the building, but yes, if the service was shut off, and that would definitely eliminate the
No.
amount of foot traffic.
And they don't believe it. They're thinking they still have to do it. So something has to come from the board, but something has to come from the board or Greg to say that. And Mickey had told me she thinks there's about 40 people, like out of 180, that are still doing it. I don't know the exact number, obviously, but that would mean that's increasing foot traffic, because why are people coming by? They're coming by to either pay their bill or to pay their Duke Energy or whatever. So
that's a great point.
So if you could do something about that, that seems to me it would simplify the owner's life, and it would simplify Greg's amount of work that he has to do.
That's great. I'll definitely circle back around on that.
Okay, thank you.
Chris or Tim, have you had discussions with Greg about this? I know this has come up before.
I need to check with Greg, because we are one of the people who gets reimbursed, and I can't say this for certain, but I believe we had this discussion, and there is some kind of an issue associated with the HOA taking over a person's utility bill.
I agree. I don't know exactly what it is.
I think there's a problem with doing that.
I believe I heard the same. I believe I heard the same thing. And let me also add that one way, which is just a short-term solution, I think you raised good points, Mary, is that you, rather than ask to reimburse every bill, if you can afford it, you wait 3-4 months, and then Greg, I believe, can cut one check. And rather than have to cut 4 checks or 5 checks, he can do one for a longer period of time. Tracy?
Well, I mean, the simple solution is just to discontinue the service. A while ago, we discontinued the service out of our units, and we can get something out to the owners, but if you just shut your service off outside of what we need for any particular electric for the building that would go back to the HOA, you could just turn your service off.
There are certain units that are being used for heating the building. So those,
and if that's the case, then that definitely needs to go to Greg, if that's the case.
Right.
But in most cases, that shouldn't be the case.
All right.
Okay. Sally, you had another question?
So are you saying that I should discontinue my service?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know that was an option.
I would caution us, please check with Greg. My recollection, as Tim has said, is that certain units need electricity. If there's an emergency, you may need the electrical plug to be active. And there's a problem with the HOA taking over everybody's electrical.
It's fine. I can look at the process as it stands.
And now, Sally, I'll get something from Greg as well, and we can share it out.
Okay. I would like to let you know that the last time I stopped in the building, it was to drop off my HOA fee, and the guard was at the desk. However, I had to use my fob in order to get in because the guard was sound asleep. So just so you know.
Okay, thank you.
I understand the problems of staying awake in a building like that, but there's no way I could have gotten in. I would have had to pound on the door otherwise.
Okay, thank you for that.
Barb, you should be able to, yes, you're unmuted.
Oh, I just had a security question. The outside doors that open automatically, when you come into the building, and then you need your fob to get the inner doors. But are the doors only open like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or are they open all the time?
The doors can be accessed all the time with your key fob.
Okay, so weekends, evenings, whatever, the whole time.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So when we started looking at security for the building, once everyone started to move out, Greg had worked with the team to understand, like, could we turn off the key fobs in the lower level, which is what I requested. It's either an all or nothing system. So we talked about that as well on Monday when we discussed the foot traffic coming in and out of the building. As we know, we want to cut expenses. We may have to do some drastic things to make sure we get there, and that is something that we can definitely talk about as well, Barb. Could we do something maybe on the weekends versus not? We need to just make sure security can get in and office staff can get in and certain things like that. So we'll have to figure that out.
Okay, just seemed like you didn't need them all be able to get into the building at any hour of the day or night. Just limit that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The system is really antiquated, Barb. It doesn't have much flexibility in terms of turning
Right.
on and off pieces of it.
And there's currently shifts that we have eliminated. So again, like Tuesday during the day, we eliminated that shift. So if owners come on that day, there won't be anyone there. So there's going to be certain circumstances that we'll communicate during the budget process to let you guys know exactly what that staffing model looks like.
Okay, are there any other owner questions? All right, that's the agenda. There's a motion to adjourn. Chris has a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Okay, Tracy. All right, all those in favor? Okay, thank you, Hammond North.
Thank you.
Okay, it is disconnected.